Hey guys, it's Tana. Welcome back to my channel. So we're going to make 3 New Year's cards. I don't normally make these, so this is going to be fun. The first one's a slimline card, so there are the measurements there. And I always cut it and score it while it's a little bit bigger so that I can trim it to be even. Sometimes my cards, when I make the slimline cards, they always end up crooked. And then I cut a piece of the Tonic Black Velvet mirror cardstock to 3 3/4 by 9 to fit the front of the card with a frame. So I'm using packaging from some of the kids' Christmas gifts, and I'm cutting out numbers from 10 all the way down to 1. And all of these numbers are going to be on the front of the card except for the 1. And then I'm going to take this little fireworks stencil that I made during the summer, and I'm going to use my 2-way glue pen. I'm going to go inside each part of that fireworks stencil and carefully lift it up. This worked fairly well. I think it was this one, where some of the glue, because I put too much and pushed too hard, got under the stencil. I just cleaned it off with one of those tiny micro brushes that I received in a Hero Arts kit. But all in all, I think it turned out really well. So I'm just kind of placing the stencil this way and that on the piece of mirrored cardstock. It's like a satin mirrored cardstock. It's not like the other mirrored cardstocks. And I lost the label for it, so I don't know exactly what they call it. And I did put 2 smaller fireworks in the corners, 2 of the corners. And now I'm going to use some rainbow shattered glass foil that came in a Simon Says stamp kit that I had left over. And I'm going to use my bone folder to very lightly rub the foil onto the dried glue. When you use a 2-way glue pen, if you wait for the glue to dry before you adhere anything, it's supposed to be temporary, but in this case, you need it dry so you can stick the foil to it without it smearing and making a mess. And it works out really well. As you can see, I didn't have any problem doing it this way at all. Originally, I had gold foil out. I don't know if you saw that, but I decided fireworks are colorful, so we're going to go with colorful fireworks. So now I have all my numbers and commas placed where I want them. And this is where I decided, hey, I keep forgetting I have press and seal, so let's use that to keep the numbers where I want them. Not a good idea for this card. Between the foil and the mirrored cardstock and the stuff that the numbers were made out of, it just was sticking everywhere. Let me say, this whole part was more trouble than it was worth. I decided to pop the numbers up on foam tape. It was painstaking work. It took forever. And also I forgot I had clear foam tape. Yeah, so if I had it to do over again, I would either remember that I have clear foam tape or not even pop them up, because there just wasn't enough room. I had to keep trimming down the foam tape and trimming it down and trimming it down and making sure that it wasn't sticking out anywhere. And in the end, I ended up using glue on it also, because that thin foam tape I have, sometimes it doesn't stick very well. And I was worried about the mirrored cardstock. And you just saw Riley. She's like, "Can I say hi, Mommy?" So I let her wave in the camera. So now I place this back on and I push everything down, but I also had to wait a little bit, because even using the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, it took a little bit to dry because it had foam tape between it and the glue and the mirrored cardstock. And then I put some double-sided tape on the back of the panel, and we're just going to adhere that right onto the slimline card. And the inside is going to have a 1 and then happy, because I have a happy die. Now I have to say, I kind of pulled this card together using odds and ends from other stamp sets. I don't have any New Year's stamp sets. I don't have any New Year's dies. Not one thing for New Year's. So the happy, I forget where that came from. I think it came with a happy and a love and a forever for Valentine's Day. And I was just showing you there that there was a mark. You could actually see the mark of the press and seal on the mirrored cardstock in one spot. So I think some glue got there. So I decided we're going to put some little images I colored and put glossy accents on up the middle of the card. So there's a top hat, and a wine glass, and a champagne bottle. So as you can see, I didn't get to that part. I had to put New Year's under the happy with, I bought way back in the summer, I bought that make your own rubber stamp, and it's got tons of little letters in it. So I just spelled out New Year's and stamped that inside the card. And this is a little handmade stencil I made with some stripes on it, just a small one. And I'm taping this down to 2 other pieces of that Christmas packaging from the Christmas presents. And I'm pushing down my embossing ink pad, Versamark ink pad on that. And we're going to use some platinum. I think I used platinum embossing powder on this by Ranger. Yeah, I used platinum. And I powdered it really good beforehand because you don't want any of that foil sticking to the mirrored cardstock where you don't want it. And I just brushed a little bit off the top and the bottom to make sure that it was nice and clean. And now we're going to heat that up. Now, because this was packaging, it did the same thing that happened in my Halloween video. If you guys saw that, it kind of changed the color of the foil background. And yes, I melted my handmade stencil by accident. So now we're pulling out a different handmade striped stencil I made so that we can do the embossing on the second panel. And I did the same thing, but this time we're going to use Nuvo Fine Detail Black Embossing Powder. And this didn't give as much coverage as I would have liked. I don't know if it was the embossing ink pad, the foil cardstock, the embossing powder. But I did try to go back and do it again with a Versamark pen. And it just kept getting everywhere. The embossing powder started to become staticky no matter how much powder I used. And it was getting all over the cardstock and sticking. So I just decided to wipe it all off and leave it as it was. So now I'm placing some different images that I've colored. Now this is from a Newton's Nook stamp set with a whole bunch of drinks, mixed drinks and sayings, and I'll put that down below. And now I have my setup all ready, so we're going to do the 2 layers of white cardstock for the sentiment, which is Celebrate, which is a Spellbinders die. And it came with some balloons, I think. And then Best Wishes, which is an MFT die for the other panel. And they each have 3 layers total because I like my cutout sentiments to have dimension. My die cut sentiments, I should say. But the second panel, the Best Wishes, is cut out of some other mirrored cardstock from Christmas packages. I wanted to make sure I used up those Christmas packages. I also cut off a lot of acetate off the Christmas packages from this year. The girls are all trained, let me tell you. They kept bringing me packages out to cut up as I was going through my day. So now we're going to glue the images in the back straight down to the card panel. And then the ones in the foreground we're going to pop up on foam tape. And I like this little setup. I like the way it looks. And I still, honestly, with putting images on all 4 cards, because you'll only see me make 3, but I did make 4, and you'll see a picture at the end. I still had about 5 or 6 images left. So I colored a lot of images. And there's glossy accents on all of them in some way or another. And the little top hats, I colored 3 of those, and I put Nuvo Dream Drops in gold, cloud, and indigo Eclipse, I think it's called, on the band of the top hats. Now we're going to glue Celebrate straight down to that panel and start working on the other one. So we've got Best Wishes, and I didn't do the tittle of the eye until I was ready to glue all 3 layers to the card panel. I've given up on trying to put them together before they go on the cardstock, and this is a little saying from the Newton's Nook stamp set. It says Pop Fizz Clink, and I thought that looked cute off in the corner in some Nuvo silver detail embossing powder. And now we're going to put another wine or champagne bottle here with 2 wine glasses. And now the wine glasses and the wine bottles came from some set I picked up at Joann Fabrics when I first started making cards. I have no idea at this point what brand of stamp set it was. I just know that I picked it up at the craft store. It had some like grapes and cheese, and it was about birthdays. Those were the sentiments that were on it. But I'm glad I kept it. And the whole reason I had bought it to begin with was because of the wine glasses and the wine bottle. So now I'm going to put some double-sided tape on the back of the first panel. And excuse me if I sound a little rough. I did preheat the car this time before I got in to do my voiceover. But I feel like I am getting sick again. Can't catch a break, guys. And foam tape on the second panel. Now this is just that thin foam tape I got off of Amazon. And then we're going to put this one on a black card base. And the other one is on a fog gray card base. And now I did do insides for these two cards also. And I'm testing out that handmade rubber stamp. And I dropped it. See that? I'm always dropping things, guys. In fact, I do it again at the end of the video. But I like the way it looks and the spacing looks good, so we're going to stamp that out. And I put a little top hat in the bottom corner of each panel. And then we're going to tape those and put them on the inside of the cards. And that's it, guys. Those are all 3 cards. I'm going to show you some pictures here. I wanted to use my stamp that I got from my son and his girlfriend, so I put my name on the back of all the cards. I did try to take very good pictures of the mirrored cardstock panels, but a couple of these panels, just no matter where I was, you could see me in the image, so I did the best I could. There, did you see that? I dropped the card. So there's the first card. Oh, I guess I just gave up on showing you the rest of them. So here's the first card. And then there's the second card. And before I forget, don't forget to go to the previous video and enter for the giveaway if you want a chance to win my old glass media mat. There's nothing wrong with it. I received a left-handed mat with a gift card for Christmas. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can hit the notification bell and be aware of all the giveaways. There's at least one a month, guys. Thank you for supporting my channel and supporting me, and Happy New Year. Have a safe, Happy New Year. Bye-bye for now.